All right, episode 3. We're here with that boy, Nakai. Say what's up, man.
Yo, man, how's it going?
Good. I'm excited you're here, man. Third guest. It feels good, man, to have you.
Well, thank you for having me on the show.
We have a wide range of things to talk about, but first I want to ask you, do you like the setup, man? Do you like it?
I think it's simple but sweet. It gets the job done. I like the audio. It sounds awesome. From what I've seen, the quality is honestly kind of what I would imagine from a podcast. Nothing too flashy, but what gets the job done, and you can audio quality, just visuals, everything just works with what you're looking for.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate that. Yo, what's up, guys? Sorry to interrupt the pod. We were having some technical difficulties with this episode. The video was just stopping. If you're wondering why I'm so tired, I'll show you. 6 a.m. the damn morning, we're up, we're on the grind. Anyways, doesn't matter. We're talking about golf, doesn't matter. Enjoy the vid, we're cutting. Bye. We're talking about golf.
Golf, yeah.
We're talking about Espen White, how he fell down this, he slid down like a character who slipped on a banana, you could say.
Oh, yeah, the cartoon character slipping on a banana.
And slammed. And, oh my gosh, it was the funniest thing, because it's only Espen White to golf in the slides.
Yeah, slides are an interesting choice. I would say I've seen some guy golfing, strapped sandals, but his heels tucked in, it's just a hot day. But yeah, slides are a rookie mistake for golfing. I mean, especially I imagine it was a little bit of like a wetter day out there.
Oh, yeah, his socks were definitely soaked.
Yeah. He found out, I think, after that. I don't know if you'd go golfing in slides again.
Yeah. But in golf in general, you go a lot, right? Before even coming here, you just went.
I did. I was thinking of something to do, and I was a little bit, tired of packing up and getting ready for college, and I was like, I'm gonna go for a round of golf before I go head to Coles, and that's what happened. I played. Honestly, my game recently has been consistently decent.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm feeling good about my shots. Some of them aren't good, but I just know oh, that's a bogey, but if I didn't duff that shot right there, I could have had a par, or stuff like that. I think I got one birdie on the round.
Nice.
But there's definitely some blow up holes, and this thing about the game for me right now is I really want to, I want to improve. I want to start hitting the ball straight. I want to eliminate the slice, because I can play with a slice, but it's not the shot I want. It's not the feel good shot. Golf's all about the feeling, and when you hit a shot and you're like, oh, well, it's in the fairway, but it lost about 30 yards to a slice, it's like, that's not what I want. I want to hit that straight as an arrow shot right towards the, green, put it on and put it in for eagle. But easier said than done, of course, as you've experienced with your little bit of golf journey.
Yeah, that's true. Living near the golf course and where we live it's such a blessing. But I don't know, it also is a bummer that we don't have a driving range.
Yeah, 100%.
Because all the practice that you do is on the actual course. You know? So when it's like that, it's hard to dial in the shot. But I have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah,
I haven't been going a lot recently just because I've been busy and now school. I have no time now. But it was fun going during the summer in the beginning, and I know we went a lot last year.
Yeah, for sure. It's good. Going back to the driving range, topic, and I would say I was bummed about it for a while, but sometimes I'll go and I'll treat the first tee as a driving range a little bit. Of course, it's a bummer you have to go get your balls, but I've also gone to up Redtail. It's about 2 hours, hour and a half away. It's golf, nice 18-hole golf course. I've never played it, but I always hit the driving range. I've hit it twice, and man, driving, it's fun. You're practicing your shots. It feels good, but you get tired of it, I started realizing, wow, the pros don't just play hole after hole. It's like they sit in that driving range and work on their shot for hours and hours and hours a day. They'll putt for 2-3 hours. It's like there's a reason why they're scoring so well on their rounds. It's like they've put in the reps to get where they want to be, and it's like, well, if I could be making the millions they make, maybe I'd put in the reps as well. But just the sheer amount of time they put into something as mundane as just hitting the ball over and over again is kind of like, wow, they deserve it. And that's why I think having just 9 holes I can play back to back to back keeps it more interesting, keeps it more entertaining. It's like I can work on my shot well playing around, and it keeps me invested. Sometimes I get just annoyed. I'm like, I want to leave right now, and if I was a driving range I could do that, but it's more entertaining to be playing 9 holes than just hitting at a driving range. But I would really love to have a 20-minute driving range session before I hit off the tee. I just always take a breakfast ball now. Yeah, I don't need to count my first drive, because it's the first time I'm striking the ball with any club other than a putter or a little 8-iron chip. So it's like I give myself that, and I think it's needed because when you're going fresh from like putting to driving, it's like you're probably gonna hit a worse shot. Of course, sometimes it works out great and I walk away like I did that on purpose, but most of the time I need the second one to help me get out of the trees.
Yeah, it is a really good way to look at it like that because it's easy to just kind of complain and be like, well, I wish I had a driving range, but it is there's pros and cons to it, I guess.
Yeah,
You
but
know?
I mean a driving range. Any big player would probably tell you, yeah, you need a driving range. That's you can
Yeah.
get in the amount of time it takes me to play around, let's say an hour and a half. You could get in so many practice shots in an hour and a half at a driving range. I mean, you hit, I don't know, 20 times, if not more, the shots. And so that amount of time, it's like, well, 3 months of driving range practice compared to and intermittent, playing around compared to 3 months of playing rounds,
Yes.
you're gonna improve probably a lot more dramatically, especially if you have maybe you go to get a few lessons. You're gonna improve so quick going through the driving range. Might be a little bit mundane, but you're gonna come out of that a better golfer than the person who just had a bunch of fun and probably is developing bad habits, on
Yeah.
the green and whatnot.
This like when I learned how to play baseball, and I used to go to like hitting coaches,
Okay, yeah.
and like then you really like, learn how to like swing and the bat path and like the stuff that you really need to do and understand to be like be a good baseball
Yeah,
player.
for sure.
So like when I go and play golf, or even when I go do like play basketball, like I know that I'm just guessing on the form. So like my confidence is down. But like in baseball, I like know the form, whether I do it or not. I may not do it, but I know the correct form and how it should feel, and I can work towards that feel. And then living the place we live and not having the driving range, it's like it is fun. It does all those things, but then it's just like I want a lot of reps, and I want to be able to leave when I can. And then usually at the driving range, there's a guy or two who really know what they're doing.
Oh yeah.
And then if not, just watch somebody else. But when you're on the course, the only time you're going to be able to watch somebody else is when you get paired with them. And I mean, I've gotten paired with a few cool people though. Like that's also a plus though too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because you meet a lot of people playing golf.
You do, yeah. I meet tons of people out there. I'll be like, hey, can I join you? Whether it's a slow day. If it's a slow day, usually you want to play with a few other people. I think I was stuck behind. Was it yesterday? A 5-some, a 4-some, and another 4-some. Yeah, we weren't going anywhere, and it was slow, and ended up pairing up with two people behind me. Ended up pairing up with me, and so we had 3, and it just makes it, you're not waiting as long. I mean, I'm not gonna be, usually when I'm paired behind a bunch of people, I just hit a bunch of practice shots, but if I don't want to feel like doing that, then being paired with other people is nice. And then later someone else joined us for like a few holes, I think, because it was just slow, and you're just kind of like, yeah, what's meeting new people, learning stories, just hearing. And I think that's that's one of the big things that makes golf the sport it is because it's such a social game that involves a really high level of mental and physical ability. But at the same time, even if you don't take it to the extreme, you can have a wonderful time conversing on the golf course, playing with some people.
Yeah, no, that's well said. I mean, sports in general, I wanted to talk to you about because, like, I don't know, like I'm a competitive person, but only to an extent, right? So like when I play baseball and I'm having fun being competitive with the team, then that drives me to want me and my team to win. So that's kind of competitive in that sense. But then also I can see how I'm kind of against sometimes ultra competitiveness because I think a lot of sports, especially in high school, and they should be for fun first.
Yeah,
That's what I feel like at least.
fun first. Yeah, I wonder. I mean, you met Sereno, right?
Yes, I did meet Sereno.
He wouldn't agree with that statement.
Oh,
would,
no.
no. He was hardcore for winning for like whatever it takes. Probably is what he would say.
Yeah.
And I definitely don't agree with that approach because if you're not, I would say, of course, there's a lot of philosophies for life, but really it's all about being kind, being generous, and just having an enjoyable experience. So if you're playing a sport, destroying your body, not having fun, it's like, what are you doing it for? If you have a really high chance of getting some D1 scholarship, going pro, making millions, helping your family out, and then after that retiring, and you can be happy, and maybe you can even find a little joy in that process, or even the joy of knowing that in the future you could possibly be giving something back to your family, like, hey, there you go. But to just be super ultra competitive, not being enjoyable to be around because of that, super just gung-ho, and not enjoying yourself in that moment. Really, it's like, well, what are you doing that for? Unless you're gonna be getting the money from it or some other thing from it, I don't think there's a reason. So I agree, super ultra competitiveness is not the way to go. But at the same time, I'm a very competitive person by nature. Whatever the case is, I compare myself to other people all the time with activities and like wanting to be better, because it's like I've always thought, well, if you're not going to be the best, then you got to have that mentality. Like, I want to be, you can't just be complacent. I don't think that's where I draw the line about not being competitive. Complacency, just sitting there being like, oh, it's fine if that team beats me. It's like, no, you can't. I think we were talking about this a little bit. You can't be like, or no, it was, I was watching a video and it was Kobe, talking about, just one of the best basketball players probably of all time. He's up there, and he's talking about, losing a game and these people, his teammates, going out and drinking. And it's like, what are you celebrating for? What is this thing that you're like, oh, this is so cool, like, we just lost? It's like, he would go and he'd hit the gym, practice the shot that he missed in that game for 4 hours until he got it. And that was what made him such a great player, his work ethic. You could say the same with David Goggins. You know what that is?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
David Goggins, I mean, crazy guy. But, you can see where he's coming from with the stuff, which is like, he doesn't, he says it, he doesn't necessarily want to wake up at 4 a.m. and go for a 20-mile run. I mean, who would? But he knows it's good for him, and he does it. And that's what makes him who he is, because he's willing to put in the effort and become, what other people are like, oh, they talk a bunch of hate towards him sometimes. And it's because they know they're not willing to do what he's willing to do to get where he is, to be who he is.
Oh, yeah. No, I feel bad for anybody who hates online or who tries to, especially just like take down others, whether it's David Goggins or somebody else. It's just like, they're not willing to go through that, and they're just being judgmental and trying to laugh for whatever reason. But I mean,
yeah. Would you say there's any truth in the statement of like people who would, some people do post stuff that deserves a little bit of like, hey, why'd you post that? That's not a cool thing. You keep that to yourself.
Yeah.
Don't post it online. But people who are just, David Goggins type of thing, it's like, you're choosing to watch the video, let's say, and it's like, I don't know, it's hard to really articulate, but to be who he is, tough guy, doesn't take shit from anyone. Like, he's gonna say it as it is. If you're hating on that kind of mentality when you're the one watching the video, it's probably because it puts you in a tight spot of, oh, wait a minute, he's right. I'm who I am right now. I'm sad because I'm maybe not willing to put in the effort to get to where I want to be. And I'm just kind of stuck in a little rut, and watching him kind of slap me in the face, say, hey man, if you want to change, get out there and do it. And you realize you're not going to do that. And so it makes you kind of hate yourself a little bit. And instead of really contemplating internally, like sitting for a little bit, maybe meditating and be like, oh, that's why it hit me. That's why, it slapped me around a little bit. Maybe I do need to get out there. Maybe if I'm talking about getting the scholarship, I really need to put in the work for it. I can't just be all talk,
Yeah.
And so instead of doing that, they just project their negative emotions onto this video because it made them feel a certain way, instead of really using the video to wake up or to change. Because I know I've watched his videos, I've heard him talk about stuff, and it throws me for a loop because I've been complacent a lot in my life and in my activities and not putting in the work when, I haven't had something I've really, really wanted. But I know that if I didn't play as many video games and I spent more time playing soccer, maybe I could have, played soccer in college, and that could have been awesome or something like that, But yeah, complacency, it's not something I recommend.
Yeah, it's good advice. And out of all the people who I know, Nakai, you are totally one of the ones who are just like not complacent, I'd say, the farthest thing away from it. Like, damn well when you need to do something, okay, you might play video games here and there, like you say, but that's fine. I mean, well, you can determine if it's fine, but you're on the stuff. You go get the scholarships. I remember last year we were at poker, and like we were all playing poker, and you're sitting there like, yo, hold on, boys, and you pulled out your phone and you started doing homework on the poker table. But that's what I respect, because you want to do it. And it's not the fact that like you did it because like, oh, my parents said so. It's like, no, your parents could be there or they couldn't be there, and you'd still do it, right?
They didn't care very much about, as long as if I was getting D's and F's, because they know that to get D's and F's, you actually have to not be
actually trying at all.
You could, if you pay any attention to a class, you can go to the class, pay attention, and you should be able to get at least, like a C, or, like you should be able, especially if a lot of the grades based on homework, it's like you're not trying, in my opinion, if you're getting F's in a class.
Oh, yeah.
I think as long as you put in a slight bit of effort, you should be able to, and I don't think school's for everyone. I don't think the grading system is necessarily a good system, but I think everyone has a chance if they put in just a little bit of effort to get grades. And so if I was getting D's and F's, my parents probably would have been like, hey, are you okay? And they would have talked to me. But yeah, my mom, back in middle school, I was talking to my advisor, the student-led conferences.
Oh, yeah.
And she tried to make one of my goals to get a B in a class, because she's like, once you get a B, then you can stop worrying about getting all A's because you've gotten a B. I didn't do that in high school. I went, straight A's, which doesn't make me any different than someone who got B's and C's and D's. It just means that I was, for some reason, very caught up in the grade system. I wanted the grade system, but I think anyone, who wants the grade system can get good grades. And the reason why people don't get good grades is because they simply don't value that system. They don't value
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. No, and that's why I think the school can kind of mess with people's mentality. It teaches them, oh man, look at this, F. Well, look at this, D. Look at this C, and they're bummed about it. And it's like, maybe you studied for that. Maybe you tried hard to get it, but internally you really didn't want it. And that's because you're like, I've had friends, they're just like, they want to go surfing, and it's like, they're not going to do well in school when they have some other passion that's calling them. It's like naturally, it's like try doing something when half your brain is thinking about wanting to do something else. It's like, you've probably had that experience. It's like, it's difficult. Like,
yes.
It's hard to multitask when you really, you don't, like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And you're not going to be able to put in the time. I was able to put in the time because I was like, oh, I want to get this grade. But people who are kind of like iffy, they don't really care. It's like, so what? They're going to get, B's, C's, D's, whatever. It's because they want to be skateboarding on the street. It's because they want to be, doing something else that they value. And when you're doing something you value, usually you can do it a lot easier than if you do something you don't value. And yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a long topic to talk about, but I think, I just hope anyone in school realizes that if they're not doing well in school, it doesn't mean that they're some failure. It's like, no, there's so many different things out there. Just high school dropouts making millions. It's like, it's not the only way, and it's a very structured system that is outdated and too old to really still be used, but we just haven't changed it yet.
Mm-hmm. Some of the smartest people who I know are the people who I like, if my car got broken down to and I need to be like, yo, boy, come fix this. Like Clark Crosstag, for example.
Oh,
like, that motherfucker is so smart about
He's so smart. It's
and stuff
insane.
like that.
Yeah.
And like, when you talk about like the trades, or like, I was welding with him one time. Insane welder.
Oh,
insane. And like woodworking, etc. Like, he just is familiar with all of it, and he'll always have a job like that.
Oh yeah.
And he'll always be good at the job, and he'll show up on time. But if you tell him, yo, take this chemistry class, he ain't taking that chemistry class.
And I mean, yeah, that's such a good example of what I'm trying to illustrate with this point of, if you know Clark Crosstag, you're going to see him as a goofball, a silly guy, sometimes a little bit insane, almost willing to do anything. Like,
yes.
and those things, good, bad, whatever the case. But for sure, if you looked at his report card, I haven't seen it, I don't know, it's probably not going to be shining A+ all the way through. But like you're saying, if your car broke down, who are you going to call?
Clark fucking Crosstag.
Yeah, you're going to call Clark. And I mean, it shows, wait a minute, that report card does nothing to show his true value in regards to these other skills that he spent time and actually wanted to improve upon. He loves cars. He loves, dune buggies, and he likes them. He believes in like working on them, and because of that, he's freaking good at it.
Yeah.
Compared to this letter, it's like, what does this little letter on a piece of paper do for me? It's like, yeah, I don't need that. It's like any skill that he wants to learn, he's got YouTube. He's got he's got all these different avenues to learn. He doesn't have to go through school to get where he wants to be, and he's probably making more money than the teachers at this point.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, he's always working, always hustling, and he has so many freaking good stories. If you ever want someone on the podcast, that's the man I would nominate. I mean, if you could get him here talking, oh man, I've heard stories after stories in classes where I'm trying to do my work, but I can't do my work because one of my ears is literally tilting that way to hear what he's talking about. And it'll be the next day, and I'll be asking like, hey man, you didn't finish that story, right? You're gonna finish it in this class, because it's so entertaining. He has so many, because he's wild, he's crazy. Someone could probably walk up to him on the side of the road and say, hey, dude, I'll pay you $1,000. I need your help right now. He probably would be like, okay.
Yeah.
Most sane people, I probably would be like, start asking questions. No, he would say, okay.
And he wouldn't even know what it was.
No, he wouldn't even know, because for one, honestly, I don't know about that. Maybe he would care, but I feel like he's really good at also like judging a sus situation, to where like if he really didn't feel like he should go, like he'd probably find a way out of it. But at the same time, like he can sniff money. He knows where. He's like, oh yeah, wait a minute, $1,000. This guy seems okay, and he's gonna make $1,000 right there. Whereas most people are gonna pass up that opportunity because
they're scared or they don't know what it is.
And he can take care of himself pretty well. I mean, I won't spoil any of the stories I've heard from him, but if you can get him on this podcast, it's some good stories.
I'll tell one about him that I remember. We were at a football game, and Clark Klostag is playing with the Buckmaster, the principal of the school, right? He's playing cornhole with her.
Okay.
And he says, Buckmaster. She goes, what? If I beat you in cornhole, I get that trailer. I hint to you, this is like a 16-foot trailer. Like, this is thousands of dollars. And she's like, we were going to bring it to the dump anyways, whatever. And it's good quality. I don't know why they were going to bring it to the dump, but they were. Mm-hmm. He ends up just destroying her in cornhole and wins this like $5,000 trailer. And he hauls it off. I see him haul it. I'm like, oh, dude, that guy just made $5,000. I mean, he probably flipped it and probably made less than that to sell it. But, bro, like, dude, Clark is such a great guy.
He's such a great guy. And I mean, he will be a little crazy at times. No doubt about that. He is crazy. But it's crazy in a good way where he knows his limits. He doesn't do anything. I don't actually know about this one, but I think he knows like the limit of what to do to other people, but he doesn't really have a limit on what he'll do to himself, as long as it's not something like, he does have a limit, but like he's a lot more crazy with himself than other people, and in that way that he's not like insane. He's just a little crazy. He has control over his actions.
Yeah. Regarding college in general, I guess we'll drop the Clark thing, but that guy is so fun to talk about. But in college in general, you're excited for it, right? You're looking forward to it. I know a little nervous, but in general, you're excited?
I'm not so much excited for the college,
like
so
the
much
school part.
For the school part, no,
okay.
I don't actually enjoy school very much at all. What I am looking forward to is rock climbing. They've got gyms. I love rock climbing. I just can't do it because the nearest gym's an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
And so they have a gym up there that I've been to when I visited. I'm so excited to start rock climbing. It gets you in great shape, and it's like a game. And I love both things, being in shape and games. And so I'm super stoked about that. Mount Baker, I think, has the record for the most powder in some frame of time. Absolute crazy powder mountain. I'm not very good at snowboarding, but because I haven't gone enough, and so
you'll get good quick.
Yeah, if it's good days and I'm not too bogged down with schoolwork, like I'm gonna go up there. I know there's a bus that actually comes through campus. You can take the bus up there and take the bus back same day.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's what I want to do. There's amazing hiking spots around Bellingham. There's probably great water opportunities, and it's a really, 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 really amazing mountain biking community, which is something I've never done, but I know my roommate's actually like a mountain biker, and so maybe he'll help me out and get me into it and teach me a few things, and I think that would also be fun. Just all these new physical avenues of activity, I'm stoked for. School-wise, I just hope I don't get too stressed out.
Yeah, a lot of people, smart people who I know, going into college, sometimes they have a really, really hard time. Like people who are just like you, are super smart, super dedicated, but they find themselves, they take that business calculus class that you're talking about. Because, with our school, the high school we went to, you can get so many college credits for basically doing high school work.
Oh, yeah, you shouldn't be getting the college credits you're getting.
You should not be.
No, it's really, I wouldn't say the TBCC classes should be giving you college credit either. They're not they're harder, but they're not, I think, maybe I'm overhyping the challenge that college will offer, and I'll be
You
like,
might get there
oh,
and be
this
like,
isn't that
yeah.
much different than TBCC. But I do feel like TBCC, especially online classes, they're more difficult than the high school, but they're also not as difficult. And that's only the classes I've taken. I've heard of some crazy classes where memorization was key, and I
Oh
hate
my God.
memorizing stuff.
Medical terminology.
Oh,
and
that's
stuff.
the class. Yeah, I know Tyler Motzinger, I think, took that class, and oh, dude, you saw him. I saw studying everything, and it'd be like a new term, like new 20 terms every single day. It's like, oh my, like that's
terrible.
That's terrible.
See, that's the thing. The memorization of stuff that I don't care about.
Oh,
That just is the killer, because you sit down and you're trying to remember whatever it is. It's like, I don't know what like the sub bone of a femur is. It's like, I don't care about that, But sometimes you just got to grind it out. But
yeah, and the thing about that is, to someone who's gonna go into the medical field,
it's important.
They better care about the sub bone of a femur.
Yes,
It's like they
yes.
need to know that stuff. But when you're just taking the class for the credit, it's not gonna work out. And one of the things that I think gets me when I think of college, it's like, wait a minute, I'm going to this place, I'm choosing to go to this place, I'm paying obscene amounts of money to go to this place. College is way too expensive. I really do want to know the calculations of, like, maybe that's exactly what they need to charge to make a profit, or if they're overcharging people. I feel like they got to be overcharging. I don't think faculty and staff and facilities are that much, but who knows? Anyways, it's this, college is just absolutely insane cost. I always get stuck on that part. Just, I don't know. I don't know how they can get away charging that much money for the experience that they're on with. But before that, we were talking about just the medical terminology and that thing. And it's like, going to college, you're paying for this education. The stuff you're learning in your third, fourth year, stuff like that, is actually stuff that should be going towards your career. So you better remember it. You better memorize it. It's not just stuff that goes in one ear, out the other, which is sadly how I treated a lot of my high school experience, which is, oh, just remember the stuff, get the grade, forget it afterwards. It's come back to bite me. I wish I didn't do that. I realized it about my senior year. I was like, wait a minute, this is free education. Why am I wasting away all this information? I could have a lot more under my belt if I had almost, like, even just a shift in mentality of, you might want this later, try to remember it. But at this point, it's like, I spent so much of my time forgetting stuff, not purposefully, but just not really thinking about keeping it in my brain, that it's come back to bite me. But it's like, well, at college, I better start remembering the stuff that I'm paying to receive. Otherwise, what am I doing there? Of course, the scene and the experience and all the other stuff that comes along with it is also valuable. It's not just the education. I think the experience, as people would say, is sometimes almost worth the money, as long as you're not going into crippling debt. That's where I would draw the line.
Yeah. Regarding that, like, remembering stuff thing, I think the older generations really, really did it well. Like, when I asked my dad, who's 68 now, about basically a lot of history, I'm like, yo, Dad, when did the blank of independence, or Declaration of Independence, that's obvious, but, kind of obscure things, I'm surprised at the amount of stuff that he can just pull out. Because back then, you had to remember a lot. There was no computer. You kind of had to do it the old-fashioned way, which seems pretty difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know when the Declaration of Independence was signed. Do you?
In 1776, I believe.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. My memory is nothing.
But I also am in government right now.
Oh, okay, that helps out.
So
that helps
we just
out.
talked
That's
about
cheating,
it.
actually.
Okay.
That's cheating. But still, there are people out there who can just remember that date just like that. It's so easy for them to remember this date. That's not me. My brain doesn't work like that. I don't know if I just didn't train it to work like that, or if in general my brain just doesn't work like that. I don't know. But yeah, my dad's the same way. Maybe it's because it wasn't so easy to look up the information. I think that's maybe why it's easier for them to remember.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, oh, I can ask Google anytime. For them, it was like, wait, they had to get a book, read a thing, or they had to ask their dad, and their dad was only home at a certain point for, it's like, it was a lot more difficult to acquire the information, and so they probably placed more importance on remembering it.
Yes.
But there is still an insane level of, I started, for a long time, I was like, I definitely want to be a parent someday, and I started thinking, I was like, wow, my dad's kind of insane with the stuff I can ask him, and if he can't come up with, like, a concrete, like, oh, I know this, like he at least gives like a reasonable explanation for why it might be. And I started to realize like I don't think I've ever asked a question that he couldn't give me like some information about. Like I'm like, oh wait, why, how does the sun orbit, how do we orbit the sun, or how does the moon orbit us? Like what's it? And like he'll like try to remember because he's heard it at some point, and he like does a great job of like explaining it. And I'm like, wow, it's like I've looked up this information multiple times and heard him say it multiple times. I still can't remember it that well. Like I'd have to sit down and like really think about it before I recalled it. But he just, yeah, it's the parents and the older generation. It does. I mean, a lot of them can just remember stuff that I'm like, wow, hopefully when I'm that age as well, I'll have that kind of memory. But I half worry that because of our technologically advanced society, we're actually degrading in our ability to remember information that we want to remember, because it's right there at the tip of our fingers. Like, oh, I looked it up. I can look it up anytime I want. And that kind of thing. It's like telling your kid, hey, just go look it up. It's like, that's not going to build a very strong connection. They're gonna start calling Google their dad. It's like not you. It's gonna be like, oh, hey, it's like, you don't want that. But at the same time, if you don't know, what are you gonna do? Eventually, they're just gonna start asking Google instead of you first. I think I started doing that a little bit. Just like, oh, he probably doesn't know this. I'm gonna look it up. Or my mom, oh, I'll just look it up. But I mean, my dad always answers, so I'll do it. But someday, if I start saying, I don't know that, why don't we look it up? Eventually, they're just gonna stop asking me and just start looking it up every single time. And I'm like, I don't want that to happen. So I try to remember stuff more now. A little incentive right there.
Yeah, I think general knowledge is important, like you said. It's a good point to put in about the parent thing, because it's like, as if I have a child or 2 or 3, whatever, I want them to come to me first. And even if they don't, if they're doing a school assignment and they have to talk about the Declaration of Independence or something,
yeah,
I'm not gonna be like, what's the Declaration of my own country? It's like, come on, like maybe I don't know it, but like now, but hopefully I take government and I learn about it,
Yeah, you're going to start remembering, right? You're going to get it down.
Yeah. In government's interesting, and school's interesting, and I love learning, whatever it is, related to school for a grade or not. Like, I'm just a person who just like the golf thing. I want to learn about my swing so I can feel it and do good. I like baseball. I want to learn the mechanics of my throw so I can learn. In cross country, I want to learn the rate of my turnover so I can, learn.
What is the rate of your turnover? What does that mean?
It's like the steps per. So your turnover is like your foot going over and like turning over and then going to the next step.
So like each step?
It's like your cadence.
Okay, so like the speed at which you take each step.
It's like the amount of steps you can take in, let's say, like 50 meters, and you'd measure it, and like you want a small cadence. Like you want you want like a high reps. So like you want to like be taking really, really short steps, but really, really quickly.
Dude, I'm perfect for that.
Yeah.
I was built for this thing. Of course, it doesn't help me be a very good cross country runner, but wait, what about people, the world record holders for the, a marathon and under, they have long legs.
But they have long legs, but they're not shoving it forward. They're landing and they're turning really, really, really fast, and they're just kicking. So their cadence is really high. Like, they're not just going like...
You mean like they're not like taking super long strides, they're taking short strides
and
with lots of power,
really, really fast, and they're turning over really, really, really quick.
And is that just like you use your muscles more, like you have more speed because you're using your muscles more each step, like you're taking more steps, so over time you're just using more of your muscle? Or
you don't want to overstride or anything, because when you overstride, it's really just like putting on a brake. So you want to like land a little bit like under you. It could be like a few inches in front, but you're really like kind of like leaning forward and you're kicking, but you're also pulling at the same time. And it also depends on the distance that you run. Mm-hmm. So like the way sprinters run compared to someone who just cross is completely different when you look at like a slow breakdown of like how they run, and especially how they start, because the sprinter's down and she falls forward really, really hard. Running is something that's really cool that I just have basic knowledge about. Like, I know you want to be like light and you want to be striking quickly, and it's a mental thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's when I did cross country. I did it 2 years, 6th grade year in middle school and a freshman year of high school. And it's so mental. There is a physical aspect of where you physically can't go anymore. I don't think I ever hit that point, because it was my mental ability saying, stop, slow down, you're out of breath. And it's like, if you took away that, like, and I ran like full on physical, like till I collapsed, I have a feeling that I would have, my time would have been great. Of course, I don't think I was in the shape to really like put up a crazy time, but I knew the mental aspect really, really did take a lot out of my performance. And I think that's the hardest thing for anyone starting, because it's a droning, 3.1 miles of running. And if you're just like running and running, and your body, it's like you have so much time to listen to yourself that it gets scary, because you're like, oh my God, this hurts. It's like, man, if it was like 100 meters, like you can push yourself, even though you might slow down towards the end, but like usually you're able to push yourself because you're like, it's right there.
Yeah,
but
visible.
You run a mile in a 5K, and you're running, hard. Like you're running really hard, and it starts to hurt after a mile. You're like, I've got 2.1 miles more. I need to run at this pace or faster. My coach is about to see me. I can't start walking now.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, the devil's getting in your head at that point. They're telling you to start to slow down. They're telling you, oh, it's okay. It's like, why are you doing this? You're not getting any scholarships out of running. It's like, why are you pushing yourself? Why are you making your body hurt? You don't need to be doing this. Like, stop. They keep on talking. And it's like, wow, that's where you gotta just be like, get out of there. Like, I'm doing this. Like, I don't need you to just talk anymore. Like, I'm going to do this regardless of what you say. And then you push through. And I think there's walls after walls of running that you get through. Like you get the first wall of, just being able to push yourself a little harder. And over time, you break down these walls until you're just naturally, your body's given up your mental mind has given up trying to get you to stop. And it just doesn't speak as, it'll get in there every once in a while, but it doesn't yell at you the same way it did in the beginning, because it knows you're not going to stop.
Yeah, no, you say that like you've ran a lot before. Like you have that understanding where it's yeah, I mean, like till this year probably, because I started running cross in freshman year, so 3-4 years ago. And oh my gosh, the way I ran in the beginning of my cross country experience was like you'd run hard and you'd break, and you run hard and you'd break. But like as you do it another year and another year and another year, you can learn to go really, really fast. Like I did 6 miles today, or like 6.5, 7 miles. I did an hour run.
Beast.
Okay. Beast only to a point though, because I went to ultimate camp, running camp.
Yeah.
Dude, some of those kids are running like 13, 14 miles a day, and they just like look insane. Their times are insane, and they can just do it. So like 6 miles, 7 miles is fine, but for a real long run, you should be getting at like 10, 11. But regardless of the point, running is something that is so damn mental, like you said, and that's why I really, really love it. But just today, I there's something wrong with my knee, which really, really sucks. Like I was playing pickleball this weekend.
Oh, pickleball's fun.
Pickleball is fun.
I love pickleball so much.
And I was playing pickleball, and I moved too fast. And I went like that, and like my knee, like I felt like I don't know what you'd call it, maybe like see, if I took medical terminology, I might know.
Yeah, you would have known that was. I wish I could pull it out of my noggin right now. I'd be like, yeah, that was a blank, but I can't do that. I didn't take medical terminology.
The thing like underneath my kneecap like went to the left side, and I felt it, and I was like, oh my God, it hurt so bad. I literally had to push it, and I pushed it, and it like moved back in. I was like, oh my God, what just happened? And my knee has been messed up for a long time, but
yeah, you need to get one of those
braces thing.
Yeah, but they're not a brace. It just supports the knee. It's like you see it. Maybe it could just be a brace, but I think it has a hole where your knee is. You've seen those, right?
I've seen those. Yes.
And they just you see them a lot on older people. So you might look, but hey, if it helps you stay in good shape and supports you, I mean, that's where you want longevity. I didn't do football partially because I didn't want to die. I didn't do football partially because I'm pretty small and I was scared, but I'm pretty quick. I could probably dodge some people. I partially did it because I didn't want 7 concussions, and it's like, you survive those concussions, great, but it's like, what effect does it have later on? And so, you got to find the line of like, wait, am I actually going to be wobbling, hobbling around with a cane at 37? You don't want to be, hobbling around at 37. So you got to make sure you take care of your knees now.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, because I'm going to a specialist on Thursday because it hurts, and it's just like, I know what they're going to tell me, probably. They're going to tell me probably not to run.
Yeah, are you gonna stop?
That's the thing. It's about longevity. you know?
Yeah.
And after going to Ultimuk and seeing all these really elite runners, like there was 2 weeks of Ultimuk, there's 2 sessions rather. First session, the fastest freshman in the USA was there.
No, really?
Yeah, he ran a 14-minute 5K, 14 flat.
And that's the fastest freshman, though.
That's
not
the fastest freshman. But dude, it's insane. A 14-minute 5K is nuts.
Okay, so let's do the math on that. What is that?
Okay, 3.1 miles. So let's say 3, and we'll just subtract like whatever. So that's 5-minute mile repeated, right? And then that's
a 440 pretty much.
That's only 15. So it's less than that. It's
Yeah, so it's probably a 430,
yeah,
like
so
435 or something.
that's insane, huh?
Yeah, that's. But then I don't know the actual. But you know what the people run for a marathon? Was it 26.2?
Yeah, something like that.
26.2 miles. Let's say 26. They run it in 2 hours, and so I mean that's the best of the best. But I
That's
mean
2 hours is like the best of the best.
I think a sub 2 hours was a goal that was reached a little like somewhat recently, maybe pre-COVID, but like pretty like maybe I don't know, but yeah. How long is that? Let's see, 26. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're running in the forest for 27, like 26 miles straight. I mean, it might be 5 or something, but still for 26 miles, the freshman insane. You know his pace. No, like I ran. A 6-minute mile is my best ever. I haven't tried in a while. I was like my freshman year, but still, like I haven't tried to run a mile. But like 4:35, whatever it is.
3 times. Oh my god.
Oh my! It's like how can you look at that? You're like that's a freshman, and you're. It's like how can you compete with that? But it's like the natural, no doubt, a lot of effort has gone into getting that time. No doubt, physical capability. Was he tall, skinny? Like, what is he? What was his physique?
I'm not sure. I didn't see him. It was the week before me, so it was the session before me.
Really? Okay, you missed the star.
I missed the damn star. Yes, I did.
Hey, man, you could have got a photo with that guy, and when he makes an Olympic team, you could be like selling it for money.
I could get him a sign.
Or keep it. Wait, would you keep it or sell it for money? Let's say it's worth like.
Right now, I would keep it.
You'd keep it? No, but I mean, like years down the line. I don't know.
Years down the line, he's in the Olympics, for example.
Yeah,
like,
okay. Someone's willing to pay you $20K for a signed photo and autograph of. Okay, 10K. Would you keep it or would you sell it? Would you be like, dude, yeah, I mean, you're in the photo, so it's kind of strange this person's willing to pay 10K for a photo of you with someone else, with this guy. But still, would you do it for 10K? Would you get rid of this photo? Or would you keep it?
I think I'd keep the photo.
Keep it? Okay.
Because it's the memory.
What if your annual salary was 300?
Okay.
30K.
30K for every year.
Every year you make 30K, so you're not doing so hot.
Am I down bad? I'm like eating ramen noodles and stuff.
No, you're not down that bad, but like you could make a third of your annual salary in that one cell.
Do I have my own apartment or am I living in my car?
You're renting. You're renting. A studio with one of your friends, and so you're renting, like you're living with someone else, and like it's a good friend, but like you're living with someone else in I don't know, your size. Let's say like 2/3 the size of this house. So you've got a size, but you're paying probably about I don't know 1,500. 2,000. I don't know what rent. I mean, you're splitting it with someone, but rent's crazy expensive. I don't know where you're living. Actually, I can ask you that.
I'm living in Seattle.
You living in Seattle, dude. That's expensive stuff, right?
Oh my god, yeah. I don't know how I'm
so
getting by.
For some reason you're living in a very expensive place with your minimal salary of $30,000.
I'm scrounging. I'm eating ramen.
Yeah, and you're eating ramen. All of a sudden, this guy says, "Hey man, 10K. I'll buy that right off you. 10K right there."
I'd buy it. Okay, I'd sell it.
You'd sell it. Okay, you would sell it.
I'd sell it and I'd invest it in something to make me money.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Because the thing is, do I really care about this guy? No. If he was like my homie from school or like, well, if he was my homie from school, I'd get like a bunch of photos and just sign those and get him to sign those.
Be like, yeah, man, this is a one-of-a-kind thing. Sell it to someone for 10K. And then the next guy that comes over, yeah, man, I have this one. I'm willing to get rid of it. One-of-a-kind, man. I don't get these. No, but yeah, you get bad karma from doing that. But still, money's, money. There's a line.
If you're down that bad, though, like if I was making a good living for myself and I didn't need it, I would hang it on the wall. I would put it in my bedroom. I would have done whatever. I've been like, that's the Olympian. I met him. I hung out with him for a week. But then I also have that memory in my head. And I also know that he may know me. And if I'm down that bad, I might have to. But if I'm making 50, 60 grand a year and I'm chilling, it's for the memories.
Yeah.
It's for the memories. As long as I'm stable. Like, if I was unstable, then I would sell it. But, you know.
Yeah, and thinking about it, it's like 30K. You're not down too bad. 30K. That's a decent. I mean, what's a teacher's salary, like 42K?
I think it depends on how much, but I thought it was like 45, 50, something like that.
45, 50. I don't know.
Or is it less than that?
I don't
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Should I look it up?
If you want to, sure.
Let's look it up.
I'm gonna guess it's closer to 50, and I know that some teachers, if they're working a long time, they can get up to 60 and 65, stuff like that.
Yeah, but I don't know. Let's see. I was looking up golf swings last thing I knew. Trying to get my slice out of there, man. Dude, I've been slicing it left and right. Okay, let's see. How much do teachers make annually?
Asking the girl Siri.
Yeah, we do that. Boom.
She's an attractive female.
Jeez, man. Got a strange interest right there.
Sorry.
Annual mean wage in Oregon elementary school teachers. Oh, they're making a solid buck right there.
How much?
Okay, well, that was said 63,000.
63,000.
Yeah, which seems crazy. I feel like none of the, I don't know,
That is
teachers
nuts.
are always complaining about how much they get paid, and so 63 is honestly,
That's not that bad.
no, they get summers off.
Mm-hmm. And like
Yeah.
I said, if you work longer, you get paid more.
But I feel like this got to be incorrect. I don't know if I should trust this source. What is it? Oregon teachingdegree.com. What do we learn in school? .coms can't be trusted. Okay, let's find a better.
If it was an EDU, it'd be an entire different thing.
Estimated annual salary of teachers in public elementary. Okay, I give up. I hate reading.
I know professors make a lot more.
Professors do make a pretty buck, but I mean 60K. If that's honest, I don't feel like it's 60K.
Yeah.
I was reading. I think it was Jordan Peterson. Do you know Jordan Peterson?
I know who Jordan
I think
Peterson is.
he was saying. I didn't watch the whole thing, but it was like a YouTube short or something. It was saying like 60K. Someone else has told me 70K. Any more above that, and your like happiness per money, like your happiness doesn't get increased that much with the extra, compared to someone with $2 million having $70,000 annual salary. Like it does, you're all of a sudden you don't like increase a bunch in happiness. It's not like you're living a way better life. Like 70K a year is enough for, I don't know if it's for a family or for a single person. But, I think below that, there is financial struggles and more stress involved. And so once you get to the point of you don't have to financially be stressed because you work a job that pays you enough, that's, I think, when you get to the point of like, you're happy. But yeah, 30K, you're going to have to be, you can't do everything you want. You can't go snowboarding. You can't go on vacation after vacation. Like, you're going to be stuck in a little bit of a rut, especially if it's like a, if you're working a lot to get that amount of money,
But the thing is, it also, I mean, the hypothetical, if you really look at it, it's like 30K, I could learn how to read a tape measure and do some basic construction, and I can make more than 30K in a year.
Yeah. I mean, if they hire you off your tape measuring skills alone, you must be a pretty good tape measure.
It might take me a bit, but like construction and stuff like that, with the shop classes I'm taking right now and what Gernhardt says, the shop teacher, it's like, dude, if you just know how to work some stuff, you know how to use the saw, you have a heads up, you pay attention, you show up on time, bro, the trades are looking for people to work.
I mean, you think about it, like, you've got a bunch of rich people who want houses built.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to build the house. So what are they going to do? If they get other people, they've got loads of money. You've got, like, too many houses that they want built. Like, you need more people in the trades, of course. And and I think if you have like he was saying, he's a wise man. If you have a head on your shoulders, you can find a place in the trades. Whether that's going to school for 2 years and getting like a thing, but even you could probably just meet someone and say, "Hey, I want to work for you," and you go in and you present yourself. You're a good person. You're a hard worker. You say, "I'm willing to work. Give me a chance, please." It's likely you can learn on the job, and you're gonna actually start making a good amount of money doing that.
You'll be. Your body might not feel that great because you're slanging around plywood and maybe have the mask down, welding, you're sweating. But like that's stuff that some people love.
Oh yeah,
and I think you can learn to love it, especially if you get pretty damn good at it.
Oh yeah.
Like you're telling me if you were like a welder and like you could make some cool sculpture, or like make some boat thing that works, it's like, that's got to be a good feeling, you know? It's got to be a real good feeling. I mean, I don't know.
Oh yeah, man.
Maybe,
yeah.
maybe I become a welder or something. No, definitely not. But could be if I needed to.
Yeah, I gotta stop saying oh yeah, but you know.
No. As many oh yeahs as you want.
Oh yeah.
It's fine.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
No, but anyways, yeah, the trades are definitely a path that I highly recommend. You can get your GED, graduate as a junior, go into the trades. You know, yeah, you don't need to get a full-on diploma. Of course, I think you need a GED or a diploma. I don't agree with people who drop out of school and don't get either, because to have a GED says, hey, school wasn't right for me. I got out of there because I just didn't really enjoy it. But you completed this GED thing. I don't think it's that difficult to get, but like at least you showed you didn't just dip out and disappear. Like you've finished this thing to show I completed this education.
Mm-hmm.
Diploma, high school diploma, pretty easy to get too as long as you stick it out 4 years. But it shows, hey, I stuck it out 4 years and I completed this thing. If you don't have either one of those, you can still get jobs. Gas station's still gonna probably hire you. But you're gonna have a lot more difficult time convincing that person, hey, you should hire me. I've got a head on my shoulders, when you don't even have a GED or a high school diploma. It's like, sure, if you got hit bad and you're honestly a good person and you just like life just hit you really bad and you had to quit school to work to support your family, like that story alone and the experience that you probably have as someone who did that is going to convince this person. But someone who just drops out of high school, doesn't get anything, looking for a job, it tells a story in itself, I think, of the kind of person you are to not be able to commit to getting a GED or a high school diploma. And of course there are reasons, but I think it can be, I really recommend getting either one. And yeah, like I was saying, GED, get it, go into trades, make more money than your teachers.
Isn't that funny, dude? Like people do that. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna say all the time, like, but it's easy for two people like me and you who like think and want to do good to say like, because I know if either of us went into the trades, like we're not trade like born or anything, but we could both have a heads up and we could do well, you know. But there's also a lot of people in the trades who may not be like that. But a lot of the guys and girls who I know, like in the shop classes that I'm taking, Trask, Zinc, stuff. Yeah, those fucking cool ass guys like that, bro. They know so much.
Oh yeah,
oh my god.
They're not gonna be acing the math exam, but you get them to do this thing that, like I was saying, they're genuinely interested in
trustworthy
this thing.
Yeah,
they're gonna do well on it. They're gonna do better than you naturally without putting. And maybe you study up a little bit and you get a good grade on the thing. They probably didn't study. They're just in tune with what they're doing in the class, and they just remembered the name of, that's whatever, Phillips, all this. They just remember it because they're enjoying it, because they're interested in the trades. Whereas people who want the grade, they're gonna get the grade. But I mean, yeah, it's like they're gonna be good. They're Clark Cross tag. They do this stuff, and when they're doing it and they're interested in it, they're gonna be good at it.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I guess we'll do one more topic that I wanted to ask you about, and I guess will be good. And that was the valedictorian thing.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, do you think it was overrated, underrated, properly rated? Are you more proud of yourself? Did you realize didn't matter that much? What?
Yeah.
If you have an opinion or
I can speak on that. I would say the valedictorian is something in a small school like ours. I personally don't think it's worth as much as a bigger school. I think that if you're in a school and your class is 500 students, it's something you can say, wow, I worked hard for this. You probably had to actually really work to get that spot up there. You worked hard, you got it, and you're the valedictorian. And you're like, geez, yeah, this is awesome. In my situation, I think it was my family, relatives, I think they were proud of me. It was cool to be the valedictorian. It's great. But it wasn't something that I really aimed for. It just fell into my lap in the way of I just happened to keep on taking dual credit classes. I just happened to care about my grades in a way that made it so I got good grades. And all that kind of stuff, all of a sudden it's, hey, you're valedictorian. Congratulations. You didn't get to use that in any of your scholarship applications because we didn't tell you beforehand. You didn't get to use it at all, but you get to write a speech and give a speech. How do you like that? And you're like, wow. Yeah, it doesn't do very much for you. It's
No.
it's like some people might take it as an ego trip. I didn't really take it as an ego trip. I was like, okay, it's cool. It's like 37 students in my class, and everyone is different, and of course it's cool, and I'm happy I got it. It's like, oh, if someone was trying to beat me and they had a better GPA, I might have worked, whatever. But I kind of halfway through the year, I found out I was probably gonna get it, and I was like, okay, this is cool. Of course, I couldn't put it on the applications, which was a bummer. I think that would have been nice. If you can be the valedictorian, just that in itself on an application, I think that's good. But because at our school you don't find out until later, it doesn't do much for you in that sense. And so I would say it's overrated, and I wouldn't stress yourself out about it too much because you can't really use it. If it's like, and maybe in some situations you could use it, but yeah, I don't think you can really use it enough to make it worth the stressing out about. So if it just happens to become what you like, you just work for it, and it's like, oh, you didn't stop taking dual credit classes, you got good grades, congratulations to the valedictorian. It's like, there you go, that's good. But don't start, don't go home, don't develop, anxiety, bad habits, don't start vaping to deal with the stress of trying to get good grades to be the valedictorian, especially at a school where it's not as outstanding as 500. Of course, it's accomplishment. I'm not going to put down this year's valedictorian, next year's the salutatorian, all these people. I'm not putting down anyone. I really don't want to do that, but it's a smaller school. The competition is naturally less. You think of, you're going to be more impressed about someone who won the national championship or state championship at a 6A school or a 2A school. Both of them are amazing accomplishments, but 6A, it's like there's a lot more people, the competition, the skill level, everything is just that much higher. And the same thing at a school that's 6A, when you have 500 kids in a graduating class, the amount of competition and the amount of people skilled. 500 students, that's more than we have in the whole entire high school right now.
Yes.
In a single class.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people to compete with. That's a lot of people who can potentially have innate, just amazing memory and skills. It's like, yeah, that's going to be a competition right there. That's going to be an accomplishment that you can say, wow, yeah, I have a 5.0 graduating. There are kids with 5.0s graduating, and you're like, wait a minute, I didn't even know I could take dual credit until I was a senior, or not, I guess a junior for me, but some people probably don't even figure out until they're a senior that you can actually get, of course our school tries to present it, but it's not, I don't know. Our school's a good school, small school.
Yeah. There's a lot of pros and cons.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's an interesting take, dude. And I'm glad you say that because, well, I know you wouldn't take it as an ego trip or anything, but I know that there's some people who would, and whatever, they're going to do that. But, I think it's a great accomplishment, dude.
Yeah, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I'm appreciative that I was awarded with it, and thankful for, all the teachers who helped me, be who I could be to get to there and to get awarded that. And I was happy that my family was, I think, happy for me, and they were proud of me, and they were like, I'm just kind of like, oh, I don't think I take compliments that well, but I think, I'm like, yeah, I'm happy for it. I'm not, oh man, I can't believe I was valedictorian. That sucks. Can't believe it. I'm not like that, but I'm just, I'm like, yo, this is so amazing. I'm going to go run down the street screaming. I'm not going to go like, hey, do you know who I am? Dude, Nakai valedictorian right here. Like, you're not going to give me a free drink? Like, what are you doing? Like, I'm not going to do that. It's not there. I'm not the president of the United States. You didn't see me on TV. Now if my speech got aired on TV and all of a sudden, I'm famous, I'm like, hey, free drink. But
Yeah.
no.
If
But
you were
I
there.
mean, it's Nakai High School, and I'm happy that I finished high school and got out of there. Of course, I wouldn't recommend just getting out of there. I'd say try to take something with you when you leave, whether it's memories or whatnot.
Well, you got anything to say to the fans out there who are watching? The
Fans?
The age gap followers?
I do have a question for you, though.
Oh, really? Okay.
You might have been asked this before. What's up with the name of the podcast?
Oh, age gap? Oh, you want to know the origin?
Yeah, I want to know how'd you come up with that name?
Okay, so the age gap podcast is called this because me and my dad started it originally. So like 9 months ago, that's when we started it, or 10 months ago now. And we have such a big age gap between us because he's 68 and I'm 50 years younger.
Dude, you're exposing your dad. Do you realize that?
He's fine. He'll be fine. And he looks good for 68. You don't even know.
He does.
So yeah, that's where it got its originality from.
Okay.
And I just wanted to stay true to it, so I never changed it.
You never changed it.
And I don't plan on changing it.
I didn't realize that. And so when I was thinking about the name of this podcast, I was like, where could Cole get the idea of age gap? It's like, is he going to slowly work up to just, I don't know, asking questions and just getting older and older and older people on here until he's got like your whole thing is that you're a young person asking questions to older famous individuals, and so you've got 40, 50, these people, and so it's coming from a young person's point of view that you're asking these people questions, and I was like,
That's
maybe
a great idea.
maybe that's where you're coming from. Of course, right now you don't have the capital to get these people on here. You're not getting David Goggins or Joe Rogan on your show, but in the future, maybe you're thinking long term and you're like, well, this is, eventually. Has everyone been on the show? Oh, actually, you had, let's see. Spellman's a year older. What about
Nina's my age?
Dude, you already ruined it. You could have had the true age gap. You had an age gap between everyone.
Oh, yeah.
But, I think you're doing a good job just to keep it going. And maybe future Joe Rogan, David Goggins, get them on the show.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see.
One day, Nakai, 10th day, Joe Rogan, baby.
Joe Rogan. You can be on his show. He'll make a podcast episode and you'll make one at the same time, and so you can post it, and then he'll link you or somehow shout you out, and you'll start blowing up, man.
I'll start blowing up, man.
Yeah.
Well, maybe one day. Thanks for coming out, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude, it was a great time. We talked about a variety of things, and in 2 days you go to college, man.
In 2 days I go to college.
Yeah.
It's a little insane. Doesn't start, but I have to go up there, and I'll start feeling real when I see all the people walking around. That's for sure.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching. That was it. Hopefully you stuck around. I'll see you guys. If I know you're getting on the pod. Okay, we keep it lit out here.
Get on the pod. It's worth it. It's awesome. It's a good experience. He does a great job. Just fun time, casual, good experience. Yeah, I can't hype it up enough. It's worth being on here.
Let's go, baby, for the memories. All right, later, guys.
Peace out.